Greetings. We, the Arcturians, along with our dear friends the Pleiadians, are always sending messages to our friends and family who volunteer to take an Earth vessel in order to assist dear Gaia with her planetary ascension. These volunteers to take Earth vessels have been taking Earth vessels for many millennia now, and are ready to assist humanity with Gaia's planetary transition/transmutation back to the higher fourth and fifth dimensions. Our dear friend Gaia, who is a living entity that extends far beyond her planetary expression, resonates to the multidimensional frequencies of planet reality. Unfortunately, most of humanity is only able to perceive Gaia's third-dimensional reality. However, if they expand their state of consciousness into the fourth, fifth dimensions and beyond, they will begin to remember their true multidimensional self. Human perception is dependent on their state of consciousness. Therefore, humanity can only perceive the frequencies of reality in which they are willing to believe exists. What is state of consciousness? One state of consciousness is greatly influenced by the brainwaves that are most active within their brain. If one is not able to focus on their own thoughts and emotions, they will not recognize that something is suddenly different when one of our many messages have been sent to them. We, the galactic family, resonate to a higher frequency of the fifth dimension and beyond. Therefore, humans who primarily resonate to a third-dimensional state of consciousness will not be able to receive our messages. Fortunately, more and more of our galactic family who has taken an Earth vessel have moved through several incarnations on Gaia and have remembered how to remember their true self, all wearing a physical Earth vessel. When our brave galactics who volunteer to take an Earth vessel to remember what they have forgotten, which is their own galactic self and galactic family, they also begin to remember that there is something inside of them that is different, bigger, and deeply influential. Then, they begin to remember that something is occurring within their daily thoughts and emotions that are different, and somehow beyond what was once their daily life. In fact, their daily life begins to change as their awareness of their higher consciousness, dreams, memories, and visions begins to flow into their waking, as well as sleeping or meditation life. Unfortunately, many of our family, as we will now call all of you, as we continue this message, are beginning to remember. Perhaps you cannot understand, at first, what is happening. In fact, you may only know that there is an increasingly powerful urge within you to remember something that you cannot quite understand. Therefore, we, your galactic family members, are calling to all you, our wonderful friends and family who volunteered to take a third-dimensional Earth vessel, to better awaken to your true galactic self who has become lost in the illusion of your physical self. As you have learned, there are many illusions on third-dimensional Earth. You may have also observed that many humans believe the illusions that other humans tell them to believe, rather than deeply trusting their own inner messages that tell them that something different is happening. When you, our grounded ones, who are usually called the humans, begin to awaken to your true galactic self, most of you do not know what is occurring. It is for this reason that we the Arcturians wish to tell our brave volunteers to take an Earth vessel that you are not alone. You are not alone in that there are more and more humans who are beginning to or already have awakened to the awareness of their own higher dimensional self. It is common that most volunteers to take an Earth vessel decide to totally forget their true self for many years and or for many incarnations. However, we, your galactic family, are here within you now to tell you that more and more humans are, indeed, awakening. The fact that your reality may appear to be poorly led, fearful and suffering is because the darkest night is just before dawn. In other words, humanity will need to be fully conscious of what is occurring, not just in their own lives, but also within their greater reality, which includes the outer space through which Gaia travels. Also, it is the now for humanity to begin the process of remembering their true galactic self. In fact, many of the humans are actually Pleiadians who have volunteered to lower their fifth-dimensional galactic self into the third dimension, where they will likely forget all about their fifth-dimensional galactic self into a third-dimensional galactic self. The lowering of their consciousness is a greater sacrifice than most third-dimensional humans can understand. In fact, to give an example of this lowering of consciousness, we would say it would much like leaving a beautiful, sunny, breezy place filled with friends and family to go to a dark, fearful place where man appears to need to find protection. It is very true that humans living on the third-dimensional frequency of Earth need protection. The frequencies of reality are a bit like the age of a person. No one expects an infant to feed itself or walk across the room. In fact, these two actions are markers of growing into their higher functions of self. In the same manner, many humans are in the process of growing into their higher frequencies of self. It is difficult for a child to remember his or her life in the higher planes that existed up until they were born into their third-dimensional human self. In the same manner, it is difficult for adults to remember the innate knowing that they had just before they took their third-dimensional, physical form. Some humans may remember the very early years of their life as a human, but they usually forget the fifth-dimensional self that they were before they took their human earth vessel. On the other hand, some humans do not forget. They may not remember being in the womb or going through the birth canal, but they do remember a feeling of unconditional love and deep thanksgiving for an opportunity to assist dear plant Gaia through her planetary ascension. These humans know and remember that as Gaia expands her consciousness, they too can expand their own consciousness in order to return to their full multidimensional, galactic self. In fact, more and more of the volunteers to assist Gaia are remembering their higher fourth and fifth dimensional incarnations. Yes, dear ones, you have many incarnations within your galactic soul. From your higher self, this remembering appears to be the same now, the now of your physical body and your physical Earth. Earth is a very special planet, in that Gaia, which is her planetary ascension name, is aware that the process of return is soon to begin. Of course, soon via Earth time is very different from soon our galactic time. Earth time is created by the humans, as a means to stay in touch with each other, get to work on time, get the kids off to school on time, and to know when it is time to go to bed or wake up. Within the ever-present now of all fifth-dimensional realities, time simply means now. Your seemingly different animals and birds know when to sleep, where to find food, how to build a nest or prepare a cave for their habitation, who to trust, and why they should trust them. Unfortunately, too many humans have forgotten how to read Gaia's earth, air, fire, water. Why have humans lost this innate ability? Because they forgot. Humans forgot that all of Gaia's reality is alive. Therefore, many humans forgot that all of Gaia's earth, air, fire, and water needs to be treated as if they are part of humanity's greater family. Is true because all of Gaia is the humans' planetary family. One of the reasons that people forget that all is one on Earth is because their third-dimensional perspectives of reality have a very small perceptual field. The silence of your inner self helps you to remember to ask, what will my inner self help me to remember? The answer is that your inner voice will help you to remember your mission, which is your reason for incarnation. More and more of you are beginning to awaken to a vague, or perhaps very strong, memory, feeling, voice, image, that is calling you to look/feel deep inside your imagination, your love, your mission, and your greatest challenges. You may not understand exactly all that awakening entails, but you are beginning to recognize the feeling of an inner message that is calling you to pay attention. Pay attention to what? Is a common response. The answer to your question is to pay attention to these inner messages that seem to be coming from an unseen higher dimensional beings, that you somehow realize is a fifth dimensional being, or beyond. Once you realize that this message is, in fact, a multidimensional message, likely from a higher dimensional aspect of your multidimensional self, you are confronted with the inner reality that you are preparing for the next stage of your return to self. As you move through, remember and realize that you are a multidimensional being, you will begin to remember how, and from where, you volunteered to take a human earth vessel to save dear Gaia from destruction. The problem/challenge is that once you realize your true, multidimensional self, you are faced with the challenge of how to incorporate your higher dimensional frequencies into the conscious awareness of your physical self. Most of you have been trained in your third, and even fourth dimensional frequencies of self, to think that you are just humans from Earth. However, whether or not you are ready, many of you are awakening to the reason for your current incarnation. Therefore, many of you are beginning to remember your reason for incarnation because you are aware enough to recognize the urgency in which you must address the great damage that humans have done to poor, beloved Gaia. When you allow yourselves to go into your fourth dimensional memory, you will realize that Gaia is much more than a big rock known as a planet. In fact, you will remember moments and experiences in your life in which you had a strong, fourth, or fifth dimensional experience. Perhaps this experience occurred during a dream, a peak experience, and/or the memory of your higher dimensional self. However, in every case, whether you know it or not, you are ready to expand your consciousness and the conscious identification of yourself. In other words, more and more of you are becoming aware of the sensation that you have only been using a very small amount of your potential. As more and more of you realize this, as well as tell others that we can greatly expand our consciousness, which will greatly expand our perceptual field. By perceptual field we mean the perceptions of reality that each of you believes is real, and not just a dream or your imagination. If you had 10 windows, but 8 windows were covered with a heavy curtain, you would have a restricted perceptual field. In other words, you would know that there is something out there that you could not perceive because you have limited your belief in your full potential. But what if you did not limit your perceptions of reality, and found the courage to speak about the higher dimensional truths that you have been receiving? You receive these messages in many different ways, such as hearing, seeing, experiencing, dreaming, and/or using the great power of your imagination. It is your imagination that allows you to expand your brain beyond the limitations of your daily thinking. Fortunately, less and less humans are doubting and judging those who believe, perceive, and/or remember higher dimensional experiences. These higher dimensional dreams, ideas, memories, goals, and services to others are awakening the concept that there is much more to our reality than we are aware of. In fact, more and more people are becoming aware of a reality that comes into their dreams and imaginations that is based on unconditional love and divine light. Some people are frightened by the thought of a higher reality because they cannot imagine that they could perceive outside and beyond their daily life. Often, we experience these messages as above us. This often occurs to remind us that the beings with whom we are communicating resonates to a higher frequency of reality. Very often, these beings will remind us that we, too, are higher dimensional beings, but we chose to lower our consciousness in order to wear a third dimensional earth vessel. Why would you do that? Those who forgot may say. You will tell them that they forgot that they volunteered to assist Gaia to expand her energy field to encompass the higher frequency that resonates to the higher fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional octaves of Gaia's possible reality. Yes, Gaia does resonate to the fifth dimension, but often one's third/fourth dimensional consciousness cannot perceive that frequency of reality. However, as humans remember their true, multidimensional self, they will regain the memory of, and the full control of, their higher dimensional experiences on the fourth, fifth, and beyond dimensions. Dear Gaia tires of restricting her planetary self to the low resonance of the third dimension. Gaia, as well many other beings on Earth, are realizing that, if we just open the curtain of forgetfulness, we will be able to perceive the fourth, higher fourth and fifth dimensional octaves of Gaia. Think of incarnation as if you were visiting a huge hotel. When people come to visit this hotel, they can decide what dimension of reality they want to check into in that upcoming incarnation. So often humans only think of themselves as alive when they are wearing a third dimensional vessel. The truth is that all humans are multidimensional. Therefore, they can experience any reality that they wish by matching the frequency of their consciousness, and thus perceptions, to many, many different frequencies of any given reality. However, many humans only believe what they see, hear, or feel with the third dimensional aspect of their multidimensional self. The entire multidimensional body is already awake and aware, but their lower dimensional perceptions can only perceive the lower dimensional realities that match their third and/or fourth dimensional frequencies of that reality. The problem on third dimensional Earth is that, too often, one can only perceive the frequency of reality that resonates to their state of consciousness. Therefore, they are not able to accept higher frequencies of reality into their daily life. Also, to be able to perceive a higher dimensional reality, such as the fifth dimension, they will need to expand their brain's resonance to the fifth dimension and beyond. Humanity has learned and has been trained to only perceive that which they are ready to perceive. Therefore, if they are not ready for a higher dimensional perception of reality, they just will not believe that perception is real. Then, they can wipe that event from their memory. It is common that humans who perceive a very sad or dangerous event, they soon forget it. The reason for this is that the third dimensional, Human body and brain are working together to assist the human to expand their perceptual range beyond the limitations of their fearful experience. What is meant by that statement is that when one is able to choose to perceive the highest frequency of any given event or message, they will be able to also remain in constant contact with their own higher dimensional self, who will keep them grounded, as well as connected to the higher dimensions of reality. We, the Pleiadians and Arcturians, greatly appreciate the good works that humanity has been selflessly sharing with their mother planet. It is this planetary service that will greatly assist Gaia to embrace and incorporate her fifth dimensional expression of Earth. Blessings from your Arcturian and Pleiadian higher expressions of self who are intertwined with each other like two trees growing as one.